Hey Jimbo, how you doing? I'm trying to figure out what the hell just happened. I was in the middle of my spiel. I was in the middle of the stream. I know the wind is blowing pretty hard. I don't know if that disrupted the signal or what. At first, I was thinking that YouTube ended the stream or something, but that's not the case because I just started a new fucking stream. I don't know what the fuck happened, guys. I'm so sorry. I haven't had that happen ever before. I've had problems with streams, getting them started, takes forever. But I've never had a stream get interrupted completely like that where the shit just stopped. It may be this heavy wind that's going on right now in the region of where I live, but that's very disappointing, very unfortunate, guys. We're going to try this one more time. I don't even know how much. What was the last thing you guys heard? Hey, Cash McKinney, what's going on? I hate that that stream ended. What was the last thing that you guys heard me talking about? Because I was really getting into my element, and then the whole fucking thing just fucking ended. And as late as it is, I don't really have time to be having streams ending like that because I wasn't even into the meat of what the fuck I was going to talk about tonight. Part of me just says that maybe I should just do this tomorrow because I mean that's fucked up. That is fucked up. Okay, okay. So Mark Anthony, hey Mark Anthony. Okay. So Mark Anthony says that the last thing that he heard me talking about was the pro blacks talking about okay. Yeah. So the point I was trying to make, and let me pull this. Oh, well. Oh, damn. So y'all didn't hear me say nothing about R. Kelly? Oh, hell no. Y'all didn't hear me say nothing about R. Kelly. Why the slaves didn't go north. Right. Okay. So it ended. So my audio ended right after I talked about that. Damn, I was gibbering jabbering for about 15 minutes. I was wondering why everybody was leaving the chat room. I thought they were just being an asshole. Damn. So you didn't so Mark Anthony, you didn't hear me say anything about this woman that paid R. Kelly's bail, and then he paid later on he paid her he paid his she paid his child support, and she paid his bail to the tune of over $250,000. Okay, it ended on R. Kelly. Okay. Okay, so basically the point I was trying to make was that R. Kelly's enablers are black women. Okay. They not only enabled him to get out of jail, not once but twice since these new charges have been brought, but they have enabled him to hide as the short eyes pedophilic bastard that he's always been since he married Aaliyah in 1994. Okay. And that would include Aaliyah's uncle's record label because black men have hit him too. These celebrities, they have yes men. Black Ground Records, they protected R. Kelly as well. Okay. Even though I think Black Ground Records is defunct now. But anyway, hey Michael Lane, I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the fuck. What I'm thinking happened was the wind blowing must have somehow disrupted the fucking signal. I was really on a roll, getting into my element, but I guess we're just gonna have to start this over again. Well, not start it completely over, but yeah, the point I was making was that that's why this whole hashtag Me Too thing targeting black men is a bunch of bullshit. Because these females, all of them should be brought up on obstruction of justice and aiding and abetting charges. Just like Jussie Smollett. They charged him with filing a false police report. I say, this is what I say. If you want to come forward 10, 20 fucking years later about something that you claim, um, some type of victimization that you claim, but you were getting paid under the table by the person that you were accusing. And now all of a sudden you come forward, you should be charged in your own accusation as a victim with aiding and abetting, bribery, blackmail, and extortion. That's what I say. You should face jail time just like the person you're accusing. Y'all can both go to jail. Marry each other, goddammit. But anyway, that was the point that I was making with R. Kelly. Moving on from that, I guess. Um, Yeah, it's just crazy what's going on now. Um, oh yeah. So guys, this is something that we really have to touch on. Um, and what I'm gonna do for this part of it is I'm gonna pull up some pictures. I'm not gonna show you the shameful display of coonery buffoonery that I saw earlier today on for the second time actually on this stream by this black female YouTuber called Renaissance Woman. But what I'm starting to notice is that certain black males that shouldn't be anywhere within 100 miles of these whores are finding themselves more and more frequently on these whores streams. And the question is why? Okay. That's a rhetorical question because we already know why. But what I've decided to do, and we're going to touch on this before we get to the truth about slavery after slavery ended. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a campaign, and I really should have put the hashtag. I should have put the hashtag in the stream. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can let me see if I can add the fucking hashtag because we have got to deal with this. We have got to deal with this because let me just tell you, brother, something. And I don't know if you guys have noticed and realized this, but do I stand alone when I have the belief system that the MGTOW name and the red pill name and what it now is supposed to stand for black men online in the so-called Black Manosphere, that too, have all been compromised? Do I stand alone in my belief system when I say that I believe these things have been compromised? Y'all tell me. Do I stand alone? Or do others share this belief system that they've been compromised? I'm waiting for somebody. I'm asking the question. Do I stand alone? Or what do you guys think? Do y'all think that the MGTOW movement, again, let me ask the question again. Has the MGTOW movement, let me ask the question directly. Has the MGTOW movement, the red pill movement, and the so-called Black Manosphere been compromised? Okay. Of course it's been compromised. For the set now, since let me tell you guys the reason why I'm bringing this up. Because for the second straight time on a second straight live stream of this bimbo, Renaissance Woman, I've caught certain brothers on that stream, and not just there. This has actually been going on for over a year now. Okay, O'Shea Duke Jackson really started the shame parade, but it's you know he got it going, but it really evolved past him. And I won't even mention Tommy because most people don't even really consider him part of the Black Manosphere anyway. But this shame parade of black men, not they first started with allowing these black femicunts that hate and despise black men, and a lot of whom are former swirlers like Paris Milan, Cynthia G, to come on their live streams. Now what I'm noticing is that black men who should know better, if they're true MGTOWs, if they're true red pillars, okay, are allowing black women. They're allowing themselves to go on the platforms of black women, and not only that, but be talked down to by black women. Okay, I heard on this Renaissance Woman stream just earlier today, these black men arguing back and forth with each other like a bunch of biatches, and then her or some other black female on there say, be quiet now, y'all calm it down, or I'm gonna have to boot one of y'all off of here. And they got quiet, and one of them said, yes, ma'am. It's almost as if these niggas, they missed their mamas or something. They were raised by single black women. What red pill Negro, what MGTOW nigga would even allow this shit? What the hell are you doing on this woman's stream, much less arguing with her and other black men? And you call yourself a MGTOW or a red pill. Now I can see these pro-blacks or these hotep niggas, but what the hell are you doing up there, Negro? The fuck is wrong with these niggas, man? It's this is like, y'all remember Wesley Snipes, his character Blade in Blade Trinity, when he got rescued by those amateur clowns called the Night Stalkers, and they call themselves trying to mimic Blade. And he was like, he looked at their uniforms and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Y'all think this is a joke? A fucking sitcom? What the fuck is wrong with these niggas, man? So my point is this. And y'all know that I have deliberately refrained from mentioning the name of one of these brothers, because as tragic as it is to me to see him in the predicament that he now finds himself in, which is basically kissing up to black women. The very black women who he talks about have caused this female fuckery of sorts. This black man has always been respectful of me. He was the first one who extended a hand and showed me friendship. He brought me on his platform. Him and his live stream is one of the reasons why we have Black Avenger TV today. It's one of the reasons why I found that brother that developed the Black Avenger TV platform. So I'm not going to call him out because he hasn't shown hostility towards me, and I don't have the utmost respect for him anymore, but I do have respect for him. And as long as he doesn't come at me, I'm not going to come directly at him. But the fact of the matter is, the manosphere has been compromised like a motherfucker. It's done. The MGTOW, at least the black MGTOW movement, has been too heavily tarnished. It's been too heavily contaminated. Just like pure water, and you put motor oil in it. Even one drop of motor oil, you got to throw out an entire water tank of pure fresh water because it's contaminated. Okay, MGTOW and red pill have been compromised. So this is what we're gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Any brother that wants to follow me can do so. Any brother who doesn't, that's fine too. I have been bringing up to you guys this new term for free thinking black men who are anti-feminist and against the idea that men owe something to any woman, not just black women, okay, without her having to earn it and show her loyalty and respect to him first. Or even men like me who don't even deal with these bimbos, okay? And I call it the Marlboro man. And tonight, as a result of the black male fuckery that I have been seeing, this shameful display put on by black men who are not admitted hoteps or pro-blacks, but claim to be MGTOWs and red pillars. And my understanding that the black manosphere has been completely fucking compromised. I'm starting a new movement called the Marlboro Man. Okay? You don't even have to call yourself a Marlboro man. You can say I'm a Marlboro. And I'm going to explain that. Because I know a lot of Negroes are dumb, they're slow. Oh, you want us to smoke cigarettes? No, dummy, I don't want you to smoke cigarettes. I know most of y'all gonna get this, okay? If you're following me, most of you gonna get this. But for those of you who don't understand this, first, okay, to understand why I am using an iconic image of American masculine history, okay, and an advertisement icon of American history. First, let me give you the background of the Marlboro Man. Okay, let's go to Wikipedia here, and I'm going to read it for you. Okay, because the Marlboro Man was more. You see, Negroes need to understand this. All this niggas dressing up in dresses and heels and going to the Oscars and all of this shit. This shit was created by a culture which allowed itself to become compromised with feminism. Okay, we allowed these bimbos to take over after the 1960s and effeminize not only a lot of men, but our very culture and society to the point where we're politically correct, we're soft, we're scared to say anything. Do y'all understand everything up to and including the heavy censorship of freedom of speech on platforms like YouTube and Facebook? All of this stuff is feminine like. You know how women, I have women in my own family, they bring up shit that somebody said about them or said to them that hurt their widow feelings 30 fucking years ago. Okay? This is shit that women do. Okay? Everybody's so scared to hurt anybody's feelings. So you can have a nigga coming out the house in a damn dressing heels, going on the damn red carpet with his boyfriend in Hollywood, and people think that shit is normal. It's not. I'm here to tell you it's not. It's weird. I personally don't have anything against the LGBTQ community. I say do whatever you want to do with whoever makes you happy. But I personally don't want to see a man coming out the house in a dress. There are gay men who dress normally. See, if it was normal to come out the house in a dress, why don't Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon dress like that when they're broadcasting on CNN? Okay? There are gay men who still dress and act like fucking men. Okay? Keep that shit to yourself behind closed doors. But that is the point of me starting this new hashtag and this new movement for free thinking brothers. And any of y'all who want to follow me can do so. I'm calling it the Marlboro Man or the Marlboro, meaning that instead of calling yourself a red pill or a MGTOW, because red pill and MGTOW has been tarnished with these weak-minded ass, simp-minded ass, think with penis first and with brain later or never ass niggas that are giving these black females, allowing them to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Okay, MGTOW and red pill has been compromised. So now comes the Marlboro Man. Okay, Marlboro was more than just about smoking cigarettes. Okay, it was a move. Here, let me read it. I'll read it for you guys so y'all understand where I'm coming from, why I'm using this logo. Okay, listen up. The Marlboro Man is a figure used in tobacco advertising campaigns for Marlboro cigarettes. In the United States, where the campaign originated, it was used from 1954 to 1999. The Marlboro Man was first conceived by Leo Burnett in 1954. The images initially featured rugged men portrayed in a variety of roles, but later primarily featured a rugged cowboy or cowboys in picturesque wild terrain. The advertisements were originally conceived as a way to popularize filtered cigarettes, which at the time were considered feminine. Y'all need to understand there was a time when smoking cigarettes was considered something that a woman did. That like the Hollywood actresses in the golden era of the 1930s. They used to smoke a lot of cigarettes. Audrey Hepburn and what's her name, Catherine Hepburn. They used to smoke those cigarettes on the ends of them little holder things that they had. That was seen as a woman like thing to do. But the companies that wanted to sell cigarettes to men, okay, they needed to create a masculine image, okay, of of men on their advertisements to bring in more men customers, because back then it was not normal for men to want to be like women. That's the first reason why we're using the Marlboro Man. We're starting this Marlboro Man campaign because the Marlboro Man character was created to defeminize the tobacco industry. Now, we all know that cigarette smoking, all that, causes cancer and all of that. The point is not about cigarettes. The point is about defeminizing black men, okay, and allowing you guys to allowing the image of black men to be re-emasculated, if that's the word, or remasculated. Okay, let me finish reading. The Marlboro advertising campaign, created by Leo Burnett worldwide, is said to be one of the most brilliant advertisement campaigns of all time. It transformed a feminine campaign with the slogan "Mild as May" into one that was masculine in a matter of months. The first models were a Navy lieutenant and Andy Armstrong, the ad agency's art supervisor. Other early models were sales promotions directors of Philip Morris, Robert Larkin, and others from the Leo Burnett ad agency, Lee Stanley and Owen Smith. And now it does say a number of models who have portrayed the Marlboro Man have died of the smoking related diseases, but we're not talking about smoking here. Cowboys proved to be popular, which led to the Marlboro Cowboy and Marlboro Country campaigns. The slogan "Come to Marlboro Country" promised every ordinary man the prospect of transforming himself into, or at least associating himself with, a rugged and macho cowboy merely by lightening up this Philip Morris product. A satirical reference to the advertisement was made in the Rolling Stone 1965 song Satisfaction, yada, yada, yada. So basically, we're using the Marlboro Man to start a new movement for black men who want to regain their masculine image, because that was its original purpose, although it was intended for this company that wanted to sell cigarettes. Okay. Originally, cigarettes were seen as a woman thing to do, to get male customers, to get a broader demographic of customers. Okay, because men back then were not cool with displaying homosexuality and acting like women. Okay, this company knew they had to create a character and an image that made smoking cigarettes appear like a manly thing. Okay, and the Marlboro Man transformed into to become more than just about cigarettes. It became an American iconic image of what the fuck a man is and is supposed to be about. And I want you to take special attention of a lot of these slogans that they have. Okay, in every picture, the Marlboro Man, and this is another important thing, is by his fucking self. Okay, he ain't got no raggedy ass female behind him, in some dress, nagging him, riding on the back of his horse. He is by himself. He's a rugged individual riding off into sunset, as I told y'all in my last video. He rides into town by himself. He rides out of town by himself. Okay. Whether or not he sleeps with women, that's up to him. Whether or not he has a girlfriend, that's up to him. Okay. But the image, and I want y'all to pay particular attention, because this is the way men used to act, and this is the way they used to reason back then. The reason why you see in these images, unlike today, okay, even though men liked pussy back then just as much as they do now, okay, the reason why you see, speaking of bimbos, I wish this bitch would go away, keep popping up in my shit. The reason why you see the Marlboro character, that image, that advertisement image, with a man by himself working, riding a cowboy, smoking a cigarette, whatever the fuck he's doing by himself, is because it was understood that a true masculine man needs no one, and especially not no fucking bimbo, to be a man. He is a man whole and complete by his motherfucking self. Does that mean he doesn't have a girlfriend? No. Does that mean that the Marlboro Man character in these images does not have a wife and kids somewhere back at home? No. But that means that when they portray that image of what a manly character is, it is a man by himself doing manly things. Okay? Y'all understand? Do y'all understand my point now? So, anybody who wants to be a part of this new campaign, okay, I am officially no longer referring to myself. I'm trying to wean myself off, because I know I'll slip up from time to time. I'll try to wean myself off from referring to myself as Red Pill, because Red Pill has been compromised by these niggas. I'm officially calling myself a Marlboro motherfucking man. Okay. Anybody who's with me, you can comment and leave it in the comment section. You can leave it on a community post. You can email me and say, "Hey, I want to be a part of this campaign. I'm a Marlboro man now, okay? Or I'm a Marlboro, okay?" And we're gonna spread that shit around, and hopefully, well, it's not gonna get compromised because anybody who's claiming to be a Marlboro and still kissing the asses of these whores, we gonna call them out. All right. We're not gonna let anybody just come in and tarnish our shit because you know how niggas are. They take something, they run with it, but they don't want to. They don't want to honor the original intent of whatever it is they're taking and running with. That's how Red Pill and MGTOW got fucking tarnished. You got these beta male simps that they want to cater to these men who are true alpha men that they look up to by calling themselves MGTOW and Red Pill when they're nothing more than Captain Save a Hole fucking ass kissing, foot massaging ass, pussy eating ass simps. All right. And that's the problem with MGTOW and Red Pill. It's not MGTOW and Red Pill. It's these fake MGTOW and Red Pill niggas that have now infiltrated that shit and watered down the purpose of that movement. You see what I'm saying? So we're gonna try to combat that with Marlboro Man. Anybody who's on board, you can say it in the chat room, or you can let me know later. Now, moving on from that, ta ta ta. Moving on from that, we should be able to once and for all get to this shit about slavery. I so wish that stream. Okay, guys. So, I believe it was Roosevelt. He said he wants to be on the stream. Okay, Roosevelt, if you are still in here and then I see somebody else, who is this live stream link? Desmond Garrett. Um, I'm sorry if you didn't want me to. Why did you give me? Okay, I don't know what that's about. Brother, I'm sorry, I don't know you. You seem to be new. If you hang, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you hang around the chat room or if you hang around my videos a little more often, I have to get like a clear um I have to get a clear understanding of what type of personality you have. You know, a Roger Spice or Mark Anthony. Um I know these brothers. Okay. Zoe Venture, I know these people. Okay. So they can come on the stream anytime. I can't just let somebody who just came on the scene. That's why I told you niggas, don't be leaving, coming and going when I shut down my channel because YouTube is pulling shit. Then you leave and then you come back to jump on the bandwagon when my traffic is picking back up. Because then I don't know you. Okay. Now I can bring brother Roosevelt on here. Cause me and him we did we did some we used to do these phone call panels from back in the day. So brother Roosevelt, I'm gonna send you the stream link right now. Okay. And guys, hold on, I'm gonna shut my screen off just temporarily so I can send him this just temporarily. Just tempo of rarely. And I'm gonna send him this and then we're gonna get to going. Let me know when you come on, Roosevelt. Anybody else that wants to join the stream, join the panel, because we're getting ready to get started on this. The truth about slavery after slavery. I'm sending my email one more time. Anybody who wants to be a part of the discussion panel, again, I have to know you, meaning you can't just show up out of nowhere. Ain't gonna be none of this dumbass arguing bullshit. Okay. We can have disagreements, but you have to be a proven brother. You have to be a Marlboro man. Okay? I'm not just going to let somebody that I don't know just came from out of nowhere. That's not happening. It ain't happening today. It ain't happening no day. I need y'all to understand. I'm not being mean. It's just, I see like the stream I witnessed earlier with Renaissance Woman and all the niggas on there arguing with each other, yelling insults and, oh, shut up, nigga. That shit is, it's for grown men to act like that. in their 30s, 40s, and 50s is just fucking pathetic to me. It's disgusting. And this is one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why black women don't respect us. They say they don't respect us because we're not building anything. And not that I give a fuck what they think, but the real reason why they don't respect us is because a lot of men are acting like bitches. Even though black women in a lot of cases, train them how to act like that. Okay. It's not that black men are, in the same boat as black women in these impoverished, underdeveloped areas, because there's plenty of women in poor countries that respect the shit out of their men and love the shit out of their men. That's not the reason why they don't respect these Negroes. Okay. And if that's the case, why are there so many of these black bimbos doing the same thing with these men that actually have money and influence, like R. Kelly? Come on, y'all. So um, let me send this brother the link right quick. Send this brother the link right quick. And then I would like to get a couple more y'all on the stream. Michael Lane, I know me and you, we did an interview before. I'd love to have you on here, brother. If you want to join, please just let me know. Yeah, because again, okay, Suburban Homestead Outfitters, you said right on, that is me, but why advertise if you don't accept? Are you talking about the live stream or are you talking about the Marlboro man? I don't know what are you talking about? What's up, UFO Kamikaze? I didn't see you in here earlier. Sorry, brother. I'm trying to send it. Damn, this shit is taking forever. Okay. Trying to send this nigga the link. Yeah, please, Suburban Homestead Outfitters. I'm assuming that's like a store or something. But explain to me what you mean by why advertise if you don't accept? Because I think I made pretty clear why I'm not just gonna let people that I don't know on here. Okay, so I sent that brother the link to the chat room. It's not a store. So what is it? It sounds like a store. What up, bro? What up, UFO Kamikaze? Okay, guys. So let's get started on this. Showing you guys proof of what I say when I talk about slavery. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go and we're going to look at some of the history about what occurred after slavery. Okay? Because history has told us that slavery was this terrible thing that was ended by Abraham Lincoln, and after this great after that, black people were free, to roam and move about as right. But you have to understand that the history books were written by the same people, okay, who black people vote for a majority of the time now, who were the same people who enslaved their black with, right? Now they're trying to paint what they did back in the day in a bad light, okay, to hype up their new plan of how they're enslaving black people today. Okay, so let's look at this, if we may. I want to start with sharecropping. I think that's the most important place to start. Okay, now how many of y'all know about sharecropping? Most people have heard the word, but what most people don't know about sharecropping is that the idea of sharecropping, the concept of sharecropping, the era of sharecropping started immediately after the official legal end of slavery, after the American Civil War in 1865. There was a giant power vacuum. There was a giant economic vacuum because of the devastation of the American Civil War, okay, and the effects it had on the Southern economy, okay, that the slaves were free to leave the master's plantation, okay, but at the same time, the slaves and the master were in the same boat. They weren't benefiting. Nobody was benefiting off of the end of slavery originally. Okay, black people weren't benefiting because they weren't, when they were slaves, they were getting free housing, free food, living on a land for free without paying taxes. Okay. And now, basically, they were, ejected from that land. And, the slave master, he wasn't making any money because now he didn't have these slaves to work the field. But hold on a second, because there was no law or rule saying that just because slavery ended, that the slave had to leave the plantation. It just said that white people couldn't call them slaves anymore and couldn't force them to work against their will. Okay? Now, to prove to you that slavery did not end when they told y'all that slavery ended, okay? I'm going to give you guys the history of sharecropping. Let me turn my screen back on. I forgot to turn my screen back on. Forgot to turn my screen back on. Let me turn my screen back on because y'all need to see this. Everybody needs to fucking see this. Okay. Voila. Sharecropping. So here's the deal. Sharecropping was basically an agreement. First of all, did y'all know that 78%, it was stunning, 78% of slaves stayed on the plantation at least one full year after 1865 when slavery ended. They stayed on the plantation to continue to work the fields picking cotton at least until 1866. One full fucking year after slavery ended. And the reason why they did it was for the same reason why you have dumb motherfuckers that'll come to me and say, yeah, but they didn't have nowhere to go. What did you expect them to do? Exactly. Exactly. They didn't have anywhere to go. They didn't know what to do because they had been subservient not only to Europeans, but to other Africans for centuries. Okay? So sharecropping was basically an agreement between the former slave and the former slave master in this sort of like boss employee type of agreement where you don't have to leave the slave plantation. We'll have the same thing in the same system in place, only now I'll give you a cut of the cotton that you pick. Okay? You get, like, for example, if you have a sharecropper, okay, picking cotton with his family, he gets to stay on the land, he gets to stay in the slave huts, okay? He continues to get fed, and he continues to pick cotton for the slave master for free, but he gets he gets a share of the cotton that he picks. So say the slave master gets 92% of the cotton, and you get 8% of all the cotton that you pick. Okay. Some slave masters, though it was very rare, paid their former slaves to stay on the plantation and become sharecropping, which is why in a documentary that PBS aired not too long ago, they called sharecropping, as you can see, slavery by another fucking name, because that's exactly what the fuck it was. Okay? Now, another interesting thing is that sharecropping did not end completely. The last known records of sharecropping in the South were in 1959, where you still had Negroes and you still had plantations in the South. As far into recent history as 1959, I think the last plantation, cotton plantation, went away in I think it was Mississippi. Irony of ironies, birthplace of my father and my grandmother. In 1959, that was the last cotton plantation. There were still Negroes picking cotton down there when right before Kennedy ran for and won the presidency in 1960. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all understand that? That a majority of Negroes did not leave the South until the Industrial Revolution, when companies like those owned by Rockefeller and Carnegie and J.P. Morgan that wanted to break the backs of white unions that were striking in these mills and refineries and these factories to demand better wages. They brung Negroes up, sharecropping Negroes up from the South, up north to places like Detroit and Pittsburgh, and out west to places like Los Angeles, where these white union workers were striking. They brought them up from the South to break the backs of the white unions that were striking, to say, well, if you won't do the work, okay, on our terms, we'll bring these niggas that are used to being slaves anyway and down there picking cotton. We'll bring them up and we'll give them your wage, and they'll think that they're living the good life. We'll get these niggas your jobs. See, that's how us black people. That's how we found our black asses in places like Detroit, like Pittsburgh, like New York City, like Chicago, like Los Angeles, like Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas was once the oil capital of the world. Okay, the oil refineries down there. The white men they went to striking. What's his name? Rockefeller. He said, "Man, fuck y'all. I'll go down here and I'll go right over here to Mississippi and Louisiana and get these niggas to work in these damn refineries." Okay, so slavery, sharecropping was a normal way of life. Okay, black people did not stop picking cotton because number one of normalcy bias, because number two they were not tormented and beaten, in mass by the slave master. Okay, and because it was a convenient agreement between them and Massa, which is why after slavery, they still yearn to be with Massa. They still yearn to have biracial children with Massa, to marry Massa, to have sex with Massa, to sit at the same lunch counter as Massa, to drink from the same water fountain as Massa, okay, to go and worship the same white God at the same church as Massa, because this slave master relationship, it didn't end in 1865, not psychologically or physiologically. It didn't end. Now it ended finally in the late 1950s, and most of it was gone by the late 1800s. Okay, but psychologically, Negroes are still enslaved to the Democratic Party. How else do you explain how a shitty a city like Chicago, my hometown, can be 90 something percent Democrat, okay, being ruled by the Democrats for over 70 years, and not a fucking thing of significance has changed for the black community in Chicago, on the south and west sides of Chicago, for 70 fucking years. Things have actually devolved from where they were in the 1950s for black people in Chicago. Black people in Chicago in the 1950s were far better off than they are now. Yet and still, black people still vote for a party which enslaved them, which allowed the Jim Crow era, the segregationist era during the civil rights movement, which lynched them, put them in chains, beat them, according to y'all, raped black women, all this terrible stuff, and y'all still vote for these Democrats. Why? Why? Because niggas are still just as psychologically enslaved as they were when they were physically enslaved. How do people not understand this? Here, let me give you a little bit of a background. I'm gonna play this clip for y'all so y'all can see this. I'm gonna play this clip for y'all. Okay, whoa. Wait, let me stop this. Somebody's saying no audio. Oh God, not again. Who? Okay, can y'all hear the audio from me? Can anybody hear the audio from me? I just paused this video because I don't want to waste my time like I did in the first fucking stream. Can anybody hear me? I just need to know, can anybody hear me, please? First, I need to know if anybody can hear me. Okay. Okay, Mr. Perfect says he can hear me. Mark Anthony, can you hear me? People are saying they can't hear the man talking in the video. Because I'll just read it to you guys. If y'all can hear me, okay, great. Okay. Can y'all hear the man in the video now? Okay, can you guys? Okay, the video, no. The audio, you, yes. See, this is why I want to use my other fucking encoder. Because this Google Hangout audio is fucking shit. Okay, let me play it again. Can y'all can't hear the, y'all still can't hear it? Y'all still can't, wait, let me turn this up. Can y'all can't hear the, y'all still can't hear it? Let me see something. Y'all still can't, wait, let me turn this up. Okay, I see what's going on. I can't hear it either. I can't hear it either. Let me see if I can fix that for you guys. I want you guys to hear what this guy said. But you know what? I may be able to find this. Wait, let me try this. Let me find it on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. Because yeah, sharecrop. This was a great documentary, guys. If you ever get a chance, check it out. But let me just see if I can pull this up myself on YouTube. And then because it's just a clip. It's just a clip that I wanted you guys to see. I thought that was it right there. Okay, sharecropping. Sharecropping, slavery by another name. See what comes up. Okay, this is okay. This is a prologue. So y'all tell me if y'all can hear this on YouTube when I turn it on. I'm gonna try it on YouTube. Mr. President, I have a brother about 14 years old. Man hired him. No. This is something different. This is something different. No, that's not it. No, slavery by another name. No. Slavery without the, yeah, slavery without the chain. Is that it? From slavery to sharecropping. Okay, let's see. Is that it? I try to have all this stuff set up for you guys before. I didn't know the audio wasn't gonna play, guys. Let's try this one. There's still no audio. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, fuck it. Let me see what other options. Man, this is why I like using my other encoder, guys, because my other encoder enables me not only to share my screen, but to share. You know what, guys? Let me do this. Let me go into this control room and see what's up. Dial guests up or down. Eject bad actors. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can share the the device audio with you guys, because to me it's no fucking point in oh shit. Is that I share my I don't know. This is I don't use this a lot. Oh, that just mutes it. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I don't know. I want to. Well, I'll just have to read it to you guys. I'll just have to read it to you guys. Okay. So, cause we got to move forward. So sharecropping. Since you guys can hear me, I'll just read what I was gonna play in the video for you guys. So sharecropping. After the Civil War, former slaves sought jobs and planters sought laborers. The absence of cash or an independent credit system led to the creation of sharecropping. Sharecropping is a system where the landlord planter allows a tenant to use the land in exchange for a share of the crop. This encouraged tenants to work to produce the biggest harvest that they could and ensured they would remain tied to the land and unlikely to leave for other opportunities. In the South, after the Civil War, many black families rented land from white owners and raised cash crop such as cotton, tobacco, and rice. And what they left out is that black families, they didn't rent the land. What they did, they agreed with the very slave owners that they already had after they were freed from slaves, and just agreed to stay on the land and work it in exchange, because now, since they're no longer slaves, think about this, guys, and what they're saying. Since they're no longer slaves, the slave owner can no longer make them work for free, right? In exchange for free land, free food, free housing. So now what is the slave owner going to do? Think about it. He's going to start charging them for the staying on the land, paying taxes on the land, the housing they're getting in what were the slave huts, and the food that they're getting, right? Because he can no longer get free labor off of them. He's going to start charging them to stay on the land, right? If slavery was so horrid, why did they turn into sharecroppers? Why didn't they just leave the land and go north or go somewhere else and get their own land, or find something else to do for a living, right? So what happened was the slave owner, the ex-slave owner, he said, I'm going to charge you, and the way you're going to pay your debt, since you don't have any money because I wasn't paying you when you were my slave, was you're going to work this cotton for me, right? You're going to pick this cotton for me, and in exchange for picking this cotton, that's going to pay your dues for staying on the land, having housing, and having food. Nigga, it's slavery all over again. It's slavery all over again. They just changed changed the legal term of it. That's what they was doing in slavery, my nigga. That's why the niggas didn't run. That's why they didn't run like they did in Roots. That's why a majority of them didn't rebel. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. They just ran the same fucking game. And the Negroes, they were what's the word? Complicit? Maybe that's the wrong word. They were complicit in the plot. Okay? They were agreeing to the same deal that they got during slavery. He just flipped it around. He said, "Okay, well, you're not my slaves anymore, so I can't get you work for free. So now you're gonna work that you working picking cotton is going to pay your way to stay here." Negroes were not picking cotton because they wanted to be farmers. Okay, they were picking cotton. They were still picking cotton after slavery because they wanted a place to live, because they wanted a food to eat. Okay, and they wanted a land to, because you got to have somewhere to have, a place to live. Okay? Same way they were during slavery. This had been psychologically wound into them since their ancestors first got over here, even before that. when they were in Africa. Actually, and a lot of people who get mad at this, they were getting a better deal over here than they were when they were enslaved as tribal captives over in Africa. Okay, those who survived the slave ships, they were treated far better as slaves over here than they were by African warlords over there, who truly were beating and killing the men and raping the women. Okay, what the fuck y'all think Shaka Zulu was? You think he was just killing white men, huh? Shit, y'all better look a brother up. Like Chris Tucker said, you better check my police record, nigga. But that's what sharecropping was. That's what the shit was. It was just a flip the script of the a redo. It's equivalent to when a lawyer or that represents somebody, they find a legal loophole around some shit that a judge ordered them to do, right? Say, okay, you can't go out that way. That's against the law. You can't you can't go out that way. So they just find another way to go out, right? It's called a legal loophole. That's what sharecropping was. And again, if these masters were treating these Negroes so terribly, why did they agree to this? And see, the way it remained slavery, let me explain something else to you guys. The way it remained slavery was because it was against the law. See, and I'm gonna show you guys some proof of this as well. It was against the law if you owed the plantation owner for your rent as a black slave, if you owed him anything, if you owed him for tools to plow the land, if you owed him for a mule that you were using to plow the land, if you owed him for a horse that you were renting, if you owed him for, the housing that you were getting, if you owed him for anything, you couldn't leave the land. You were hereby, by law, obligated to stay on the land and keep picking that cotton to pay off your dues. Because back then they used to throw, there was a thing called debtor's prison. They used to throw your ass in prison. At which point, black men who found themselves um arrested in the South, they were sent to prison labor camps, and they were forced to do slave labor for free, just like they were back before the American Civil War ended. So you definitely didn't want to go to prison. Okay, so essentially, Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me? Oh, fuck. No audio. Come on, man. Oh, fuck. What the fuck is going on? I can hear me. What in the hell is going on, man? The thing is still broadcasting. Oh my god. Y'all, I don't know. I think it's this stupid wind. Now I gotta share my fucking. Oh my god. What was the last thing? Did y'all hear me talking? Okay, I'm sure y'all heard me talking about sharecropping being another form of slavery. But let me read that over. Okay, for people who can hear me. For people who can hear me. Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys. It must be the wind disrupting the signal because I'm on a Wi-Fi signal. But let me read part of that over that I was reading. Okay. From the top. After the Civil War, former slaves sought jobs and planters sought laborers. The absence of cash or an independent credit system led to the creation of sharecropping. Sharecropping is a system where the landlord planter allows a tenant to use the land in exchange for a share of the crop. This encouraged tenants to work to produce the biggest harvest that they could and ensured that they would remain tied to the land and unlikely to leave for other opportunities. In the South, after the Civil War, many black families rented land from white owners and raised cash crops such as cotton, tobacco, and rice. In many cases, the landlords or nearby merchants would lease equipment to the renters and offer seed, fertilizer, food, and other items on credit until the harvest season. At that time, the tenant and landlord or merchant would settle up figuring out who owed whom and how much. High interest rates, unpredictable harvests, and unscrupulous landlords and merchants often kept tenant farm families severely indebted, requiring the debt to be carried over until the next year or the next. Laws favoring landowners Laws favoring landowners made it difficult or even illegal for sharecroppers to sell their crops to others besides their landowners, or prevented sharecroppers from moving if they were indebted to their landlord. Approximately two-thirds of all sharecroppers were white, and one-third were black. And you had black, and this is where certain certain YouTubers talk about how you had black slave owners, guess what? Because think about this logically for a second. If you were indebted to the plantation owner, to the landlord, right? Where the term landlord originally came from. If you were indebted to him, and laws in the South, laws in the South favored the landowner, aka the landlord. What were you? You were a fucking slave all over again, because you couldn't leave the land if you owed him for the seed, the fertilizer, the food, the housing, right? Because then the sheriff would arrest you and just put your black ass in a slave labor camp all over again anyway. So this is how the system of slavery continued for black people who willingly went along with it after slavery. Y'all understand? Who's MCA? Mark Anthony say RIP MCA. They're trying to pull a Beastie Boys. What y'all talking about in the chat room? Anyway, okay, guys. So moving on from that, so I'm gonna try to get through this. Looks like I got this double here, and I got so much damn fucking lag here. Okay, so we're gonna move on from that, and I think I think I've hammered home the understanding of why slavery did not end when they told us it ended. Now, another thing that I think we need to understand is that the reason why slavery, and I know this pisses off a lot of pro blacks. Now we know we've already touched and we've already covered the fact that slavery was convenient for the Negro and the slave master alike. After slavery ended, not only did this allow the slave master to continue slavery through the form of sharecropping, it also allowed some blacks who had gotten up enough money to become slave owners themselves. In and of itself is a live stream in and of itself. I mean, what can you say? What can you say? But there's another reason why slavery did not it ended officially in 1860, but it not did not truly end physically until the 1950s. And it really has never ended psychologically. And really is kind of going back to the way it was now, which is why you have these fucking sites like ghetto gaggers, where you have these black whores that are allowing white men to do pretty much anything they fucking want to them, right? Because not only were slaves conveniently benefiting from slavery, just like the slave master was benefiting from slavery, but also the slave was involved in romantic relationships, both male and female, with the slave massa, okay, and other white people in the South. Proof of this. Before we even go to black women, because I know what you Negroes are going to say, we all love to talk about black women and how they're bad wenches, this, that, and the third. But have any of you guys heard Eleanor Butler, who was an Irish immigrant and came over here as an indentured servant in the late 60s when the British colonies still had slavery before Great Britain abolished slavery, right? Did you know that Irish people, along with black people, were slaves over here, which is why they've always been looked down upon, and which is why, by other Western white countries like Great Britain, and why they've been fighting the British for the last 600 years. Check this out for all you Negroes who think that black women were the only ones that were back then. Okay, Eleanor Butler was an indentured white woman who married an African slave in colonial Maryland in 1681. Check this out. Not only did Butler, because see, y'all need to understand, you need to understand, as draconian back then, just because we weren't back then to see it, they were not as cruel as people want you to believe they were. Okay? Because not only did this butler woman marry a black slave as a Irish indentured servant, not only did white men who um not only master, not only did her white slave master allow this to allow a white woman to get married, a white female slave to get married to one of his, okay, but the like 10 children that they had, I mean, they were fucking the shit out of each other. I'm gonna read you guys this, but the 10 children, some of the 10 children that they had, filed a lawsuit against the slave master to get their freedom. How the fuck? Let me ask you something. If white people were so cruel to black people back then, how the fuck could a slave have a lawyer to file a suit against his master? Wait until I read y'all this shit. Wait y'all this shit. Hit the biracial children of this Eleanor Butler, this Irish immigrant woman, who was an indentured white female slave, with white British slave to marry a black slave. After she died or whatever, some of her biracial children who were born into slavery filed a lawsuit. These niggas got them and filed a lawsuit against the slave master and argued for their freedom, saying that they could not be slaves because they were birthed by a white woman. What kind of fucking sense does that make? What kind of sense does that make? If slaves, had no rights, They were abused. They were in slave chains. They were getting their dicks cut off and getting raped and working in the hot sun with no rights. What kind of sense does that make? Huh? Look here, let me read it for you. Let me read it for you. Because I believe in showing proof of whatever the fuck I say. Butler, who origin, was an indentured servant to Charles Calvert, 3rd Baron Baltimore. At around 16 years of age, she announced her intention to marry a man referred to only as Negro Charles. A 1664 Maryland law outlined the legal status of a free woman who voluntarily married a slave. She would serve the master of her husband until his death, and any offspring of their union would be born into slavery. Despite this, Butler was determined to be wed. The thought of a white woman becoming a slave apparently distressed Lord Baltimore somewhat, and he warned against the union for that reason. Lord Baltimore petitioned Maryland's Provincial Assembly to change the 1664 law, and in 1681, key provisions of the law were in fact repealed. The new law additionally outlawed marriages between female servants and slaves and provided for huge punitive fines to be levied on the master of any slave thus wed. Despite this, Butler and Charles apparently married anyway in 1681. But before the law went into effect, because the new law did not apply retroactively, and perhaps also because Lord Baltimore left Maryland indefinitely in 1684, Butler and Charles, we're talking about this white Irish woman who was an indentured servant, and Charles, who was a black slave of this white British slave owner, lived out the rest of their lives as the slaves of William Borman, Eleanor Butler's husband's owner. They had 7 or 8 children. Damn. All born after the repeal of the 1664 law. But these were nonetheless born slaves. One son, Jack, apparently escaped and later bought his freedom from the Borman family, and the rest remained chattel. And get this, y'all, get this. After Eleanor Butler and Negro Charles, this black slave, after they fucked each other and had all these biracial children, almost 100 years later, check this out. Check this out, y'all. In October of 1770, two of their descendants, two of their grandchildren who were slaves, William and Mary Butler, still enslaved. Check this shit out. Because y'all need to understand, okay? Y'all need to understand where black people come from, okay? It wasn't, black people were not being abused in mass back then. Because if they were, how the fuck do you explain this shit? In October of 1770, two of their descendants, William and Mary Butler, still enslaved, filed suit for their freedom on the basis they were descendants of a white woman. Mary Butler was Neil Butler's great granddaughter, but the provincial court ruled against them, noting that many of these people, if turned loose, cannot mix with us and become members of society. Other suits from other descendants followed in the 1780s. In 1787, the daughter of William and Mary Butler, also named Mary, successfully sued a slave, a biracial slave, successfully sued for her freedom, but hers was a procedural victory devoid of any particular precedent. While her attorney hoped that the court would decide that any descendant of a white woman could not be a slave, such a decision and the far reaching effects it would have brought were not forthcoming. Instead, the court ruled that as no evidence existed of a legal union between Neil Butler and Negro Charles, the provisions of the 1664 law that condemned her and her offspring to slavery should not have applied in her case. This compromise ruling allowed Mary Butler her freedom without having any significant effect on property rights in the state. Boom. So slaves in some places, just like, remember I told y'all in that video, that there were slave owners that could be fined if they abused their slaves. There were slave owners that if they caught their white hired guns, their white security abusing, even raping their slaves, whatever, they would have the sheriff come arrest and jail that motherfucker or outright fire him. There were some counties that allowed slaves to sue their fucking slave owner. How do you explain that shit? How do you explain it? It's hard to explain, but I tell you this. When you understand the true origins of slavery, you understand why this was as much of a benefit in a lot of cases, not every case. There were cruel slave owners. There were slave owners that were raping slaves. There were slave owners that were beating and murdering and lynching slaves. We understand that and forcing them to work in unhumanly conditions. But in most cases, it was not like that. There were cases where there were states and counties that had certain laws, like you have laws for animal cruelty, okay, where masters had to treat their slaves in a certain manner, okay. Some some municipalities, like I said, allowed slaves to sue their fucking slave owners. How do you explain this shit? That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Now let's move on. Move on, because we're not done now. We're not done. Now, this is what I want to show y'all next. We got to get to this shit. Let me close some of these fucking windows that are lagging up my shit. This okay, okay. Now, Black Confederates. Now, there's been a lot of debate between historians. There've been a lot of debate between historians as to whether or not there were black men. Okay, we know. Let me go back. Do I have that? Do I have that motherfucking um thing? Probably not. Let me go back to that. You know what, y'all? Let me go back to the video that I showed you guys of the attractive black female slave on my video that was married to her North Carolina slave owner. Let me go back to that because I want to make a point here. Just give me 1 second because I'm lagging so fucking bad. No, 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 no. We don't want that. You had your chance to play audio. Come on, motherfucker. I This shit got a lag so damn bad. I need better equipment, y'all. But hold up. Let me go back here right quick if it'll fucking allow me and not give me a hard fucking time. Yeah, go to my channel. I'm gonna try to show you guys this right quick. Get back to this right quick. Okay, I want to show y'all this because I'm about to bring home a point. Okay. I'm about to put an end to the debate of whether or not there were black men that fought on the side of the South. A side that was considered, the Confederacy was considered secessionists that wanted to keep black people in bondage in these slave chains that the movie Roots um um created this image that this is how black people were treated. You know, your clothes off and you're in chains and you out in the hot sun. There were black men who fought on the side of the South. And I'm about to prove that. But first, let me show y'all this. Go back to this bimbo. What the fuck is that doing here? Hold up, y'all. This thing is fucking with me. Let me find that fucking picture. Because I really, after I show y'all this, I can just end the fucking stream right here. Okay. This woman here, if y'all can still hear me in the chat room. Okay. This woman here, attractive black female slave, married with biracial children in North Carolina, slave master, 51 years before slavery ended and 18 years after it did until Massa's death. Okay. So we know that black slaves were marrying white people They were having sex with white people. They were having children with white people. Okay. We know that slavery in and of itself was benefiting both the slave and it was benefiting the slave owner. We know that after slavery, slavery continued through the form of sharecropping, where black people, 78% of black people, at least for a year, agreed to be returned to a state of slavery by working off debts of basically doing the same thing that they were doing anyway for slave master. And we know they just transferred slave master's name from being slave master to landlord or landowner, where the term landlord came from, which is actually a British term. Okay. But did you also know that during the American Civil War, when the North supposedly, which is a myth, and we're going to get to that as well, the North and the Union Army, the Army of the Potomac specifically, directed by Abraham Lincoln after the firing by the Confederates on Fort Sumter that began the American Civil War, went down to the South and started this great war to free slaves, right? To free slaves from bondage and terror and General Sherman's, great march to the sea where he wreaked havoc on Vicksburg, Mississippi, and all the slave plantations in Georgia. Did you know that there were a handful of niggas that were actually fighting in arms, not just as servants and pallbearers and cooks, but they actually fought in arms in some Confederate regiments. I just showed y'all the picture of one of them, right? Well, this was more like a National Guard type of deal. But even more than that, I discovered this documentary by mistake, y'all. Check this shit out. I'm just gonna show you one clip. Oh fuck. Y'all can't hear audio. Damn. Now I'm pissed. Y'all can't hear the fucking audio of this shit. Y'all can't hear the wait. Let me see if y'all can hear the audio. Hold up, guys. I'm tr- I'm trying to see if I'm gonna. Y'all can't hear the. Wait, let me see if y'all can.
is only a wonder that the whole 8,000 of the filthy hogs did not go home in pine boxes instead of on their feet.
Within days, Union prisoners paroled under the cartel begin to arrive at Camp Douglas, where they are to be held until officially freed.
They were the most demoralized bunch you could ever come across. They not only were suffering from humiliation.
Quick work by the guards.
It's only a wonder that the whole...
The University of Chicago actually was the camp's main neighbor, and that was right across the way, just separated by a dirt street about 13 feet wide that adjoined the camp on the south. And was there throughout the Civil War. And a close connection existed between the university and the camp. Many of the students were theological students because University of Chicago started out as a Baptist theological seminary. And they would often go across the try and get them food, clothing,
It takes less than a month for the president to write Secretary of War Stanton and secure Boone's freedom. The well-connected doctor spends just 30 days.
Can anybody hear? Can anybody hear? Can you hear the video? You say it sounds a little muffled. Can you hear the video?
In the fall of 1864, over 7,000 rebels march out of Douglas to board trains bound for the South. 918 rebels now take the oath of allegiance and stay in the North. A handful of black are allowed to choose their own.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stop right here. They just said, okay, this is a BBC documentary. I'm a try to go into this. Well, if y'all can't hear it, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Because there's a big lag time between what I'm seeing on my phone screen and what you guys are seeing and hearing. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna explain what this image is, and then I'm gonna go back and attempt to play the video. If the video doesn't play where y'all can actually hear it, we're just gonna move on. But I'm gonna explain it so at least you know what you're looking at. Okay, this is a BBC documentary about this. What was the name of it? What was the name of that fucking fort? It was about a prison fort that held Confederate prisoners in Chicago, of all places. And the Confederate prisoners called it 80 acres of hell because, they were mistreated there. They weren't fed properly. It was basically like a Union concentration camp. Okay. And until certain federal regulations were put in place, you had Confederate prisoners of war dying of disease, dying of starvation. It was fucking terrible. Now, at this POW camp that the North had in Chicago, I think it was called Camp. And what the fuck was the name of that fucking place? It was Camp some shit. I'm sorry, y'all. I should know the name of the camp. But anyway, the POW camp, it was noted by several reporters from the Chicago Tribune and several military records that over the course of the American Civil War, as Confederate prisoners of war were processed through this prison camp in Chicago, some of those prisoners were black Confederates that were taken in arms along with white Confederates. Okay? And when the prisoner swap happened, okay, some of these black Confederate soldiers were released. Some of them agreed to stay in the North. Some of them even went back south. Okay? But they were taken in arms as prisoners of war. That's what this image here of this documentary displays. So I'm gonna try to, guys. I want you guys to be able to hear this for your fucking self. But for some stupid ass reason, it's not transmitting to where y'all can actually hear it, which pisses me off because I'm pretty sure that y'all were able to hear when I played the first video about slavery. I'm pretty sure y'all were able to hear that earlier. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play this shit one more time to see if y'all can hear it. And I'm gonna turn this shit up, see if I can hear it. Chicago, of all places. And the Confederate prisoners called it 80 acres of hell because, they were mistreated there. They weren't fed properly. It was basically like a Union concentration camp. Okay? And until certain things, certain federal regulations were put in place, you had Confederate prisoners of war dying of disease, dying of starvation. It was fucking terrible. Now, at this POW camp that the North had in Chicago, I think it was called Camp. What the fuck was the name of that fucking place? It was Camp some shit. I'm sorry, y'all. I should know the name of the camp. But anyway, the POW camp, it was noted by several reporters from the Chicago Tribune and several military records. Let me Zoe Venture said he can't hear. I'm assuming he means he can't hear me. Okay, let me explain. There's gonna be a huge lag gap, unfortunately, because I'm watching on the phone the live stream, and there's always this stupid ass lag gap. Okay, what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to take my headphones to help you guys be able to actually, if that's possible, to see if I can help you guys actually hear what I'm hearing through the headphones. It may or it may not work. Okay, because I want you guys to see this part where they talked about the Confederate troops at this POW camp that were black in Chicago. Okay, hold on, but you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it even if you can't hear it. Okay, so I'm gonna play it now. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it even if you can't hear it. Okay, so I'm gonna play it now. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it even if you can't hear it. Okay. So I'm gonna play it now.
In the fall of 1862,
You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it even if you can't hear it. Okay.
board trains
So I'm gonna play it now.
918 rebels now take the oath of allegiance. 228 have already joined the Union Army. A handful of black rebels are allowed to choose their own fate. 2 join the Union and 2 return south. 2 are released and 1 simply.
These were theological students because University of Chicago started out as a Baptist theological seminary. And they would often go across that
It takes less than a president to write Secretary of War Stanton in 1862.
joined the camp on the south. University on the camp. Many of the students were theological students because University of Chicago started out as a Baptist. Joined the camp on the south. Go across
It takes less than a month for the president to write Secretary of War Stanton and secure Boone's freedom. Well-connected doctors spent just 37 days in prison. Ironically, his special release coincides with the release of the new prisoners. In the fall of 1862, over 7,000 rebels march out of Camp Douglas Street with trains bound for the south. 918 rebels now take the oath of allegiance and stay in the north, while 228 a handful of two join the Union and 2 return south. 2 are released, 1 simply vanishes. Close to 1,000 prisoners.
Okay, well that was a clusterfuck. Did anybody hear what they said about the Confederate prisoners of war? And I think, yeah, that was the name of it. Damn it, Camp Douglas in Chicago. Chicago had the largest Northern Union prisoner of war camp of all places during the Civil War, and that's where they housed Confederate prisoners. And among these Confederate prisoners, there were about 100. There were about 100 black rebels, as they call them, black Confederate soldiers. When there was a prisoner swap agreement in 1862 between the South and the North, there were several black soldiers that were released. Did anybody hear anything about that? Did anybody hear that when I attempted to play this video for you guys? Did anybody hear that? Okay. Well, sorry. I tried to play it for you guys. I'm gonna get a better. You know what? I should have used my other fucking encoder. The only reason I didn't was because I wanted some niggas to come on the panel tonight, but no niggas want to come on the panel tonight. If I had have known no niggas was gonna come on the panel tonight, and I was the only nigga that was gonna be running my mouth, I would have used my much better than Google Hangouts panel encoder, rather, game show arcade. Then y'all definitely would have been able to hear the shit. But anyway, the fact of the matter is there were black Confederate soldiers. That puts it to rest. How were there not black Confederate soldiers when they were housed as prisoners of war with white Confederate soldiers in Camp Douglas in Chicago from 1861 all the way up to 1864? Right? How? And they were part of the prisoner swap agreement, because you actually had Negroes that were fighting for Whitey and fighting for Massa. They were fighting for the Confederacy. And if the institution of slavery was so horrible, why would they even volunteer to do that? And wait a minute, if they were forced to fight on the side of the Confederacy, then why in the fuck did some of them during the prisoner swap agree to go back down south? That's why I wish I could have played the fucking clip for y'all. Why did they agree to go back down south if they were being forced to fight on the side of the Confederacy? Just like, why would Negroes want to desegregate the South and sit at a lunch counter with a racist cracker? Because psychological slavery is beneficial as physiological slavery, and always has been for black people, which is why Democrats basically, they just switched everything up. Okay, they wrote the history books damning the very thing that they were doing to black people, and now they're saying they're enslaving black people by saying, get rid of the man in the house so there'll be no father figure to help build and develop these communities and raise these youth, and we'll give you free money. We'll give you free food. We'll give you free housing, just like we did on the slave plantation, just like we did during the so-called Reconstruction era in sharecropping, just like we did in Jim Crow with sharecropping, right? And in exchange, all you have to do is vote for us and keep the nigga out the house. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Huh? Sound familiar, doesn't it? That's why Democrats never have to do anything to get the black vote, because they, as the it's not only a political party, but as a institution. Okay, their very ideals have psychologically controlled and enslaved black minds and black bodies for centuries, and it has benefited black minds and black bodies. It is the largest form of manipulation that the world has ever seen. Okay, Jews were subjugated physically, but they were never subjugated psychologically. Okay, neither were the Hebrews during the times of Pharaoh in Egypt. Black people allowed themselves to be psychologically subjugated and returned to a form of slavery in sharecropping, and now with the allowed abuses of the welfare system, and how it has created this cesspool of degeneracy and female fuckery that Negroes talk about, which is why black people never evolve. We actually only seem to devolve, because slavery, it just ended a few decades ago physically, and it never ended psychologically. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Confederate veteran. A number of blacks served in the Confederate Army as soldiers. Historians and students of history agree that blacks served by the thousands in the Confederate Army, but they will dispute, however, that these blacks served as soldiers and will dismiss their service as that of servants attached to the Army. Not so, however. Again, how were there black slaves at Fort Douglas, at Camp Douglas in motherfucking Chicago? And during the prisoner swap, some of them agreed to go back down south. Because niggas are just that fucked up and have been for quite some time. Because slavery and the Confederacy was benefiting them too. Now, do we really, I know we've been on here for a few hours, but do we really have to go into this whole, yeah. This is one thing I'm gonna do for y'all before we get off of here. We're gonna touch on the truth about Abraham Lincoln. Now, Abraham Lincoln is historically written as he's written in the history books, even though he was Republican. He's written in the history books as this abolitionist who freed the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation. But the way history portrays Abraham Lincoln as, this great man of destiny that started this great war, this upheaval struggle that included the bloodshed of hundreds of thousands of white men to free these poor little black slaves from this evil, cruel bondage of the slave master and the Confederacy. That is a fucking myth. Okay? There's one primary reason why slavery was later added to the clause of the reason why the Union was warring against the South and trying to prevent secession, where the Confederacy wanted to break off from the Union and create their own country, where we would have a northern United States and a southern United States of America. Okay? They they drafted and Congress passed the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln to keep Great Britain and France from entering the war on the side of the South. Now, why was France and England threatening to enter the war on the side of the South, even after we kicked their ass in the British in the Revolutionary War and we kicked their ass in the War of 1812? They were threatening to enter on the side of the South against the North for one reason and one reason only. It starts with a C. Say it with me. Cotton. Cotton was not only a major, it was not only the main driving industry of the Southern economy. It was a major commodity in Western Europe at the time. Everything from clothing to tools were made from cotton. Okay? So the main customers of cotton were European exporters, including Great Britain, well, what we now call Great Britain, England, and France. Also, Spain was in there, Belgium, and Germany. Okay? So they were saying, look, y'all got to settle this conflict, because the American Civil War, because there was so much of a manpower effort sent toward the front lines by the Confederates, it was slowing the production of cotton. Okay, and the slowing production of cotton became a direct threat and national security risk for both England and France. So they say, look, fuck this. Y'all either settle it, or we gonna come in on the side of the people who we're buying this cotton from, and we gonna help them whoop y'all ass so we can keep getting this cotton. So Abraham Lincoln, knowing that both France and Great Britain had abolished slavery, okay, he started a PR campaign, a military strategy to prevent the French and the English from joining the Confederate Army, okay, and making matters worse for the North, which was already losing in the early years of the war, by saying, okay, this great war to keep the South from seceding. Now it's about the slaves. It's about us freeing the slaves. So then England and France did not want to be seen as siding with a army and with a group that was fighting to keep somebody enslaved. So they decided to stay out of the war. So that kept the war between the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia and the Union Army of the Potomac. Y'all understand what I'm trying to tell y'all, okay? And since I know a lot of you niggas don't believe me, guess what? Just like I had proof with everything else, I have proof that not only did Lincoln not start the American Civil War, well, he didn't start, the Confederates started by firing on Fort Sumter. But not only do I have proof that Abraham Lincoln did not um continue the American Civil War to save your black ass, he really didn't give too much of two shits past a beggar's dam about your black ass. Here's proof. Here's proof, y'all. Here's proof. 5 things you may not know about Lincoln, slavery, and emancipation. On September 22nd, 1862, Abraham Lincoln issued his preliminary Emancipation Proclamation. Explore 5 facts about the 16th U.S. president and his policies on slavery. Check it out, guys. Let me scroll down if this motherfucker will let me. Here we go with this lagging bullshit. Let me see if I can get this to scroll down because this thing acting stupid with me now. It's acting stupid with me. Okay, here we go. Come on, motherfucker. Oh God, this thing is so fucking stupid. I need y'all to buy me another computer. I'm just playing. It's just fucking connection is fucked up. What the fuck? Medical report daily. Y'all hold up, man. This thing is all over the place with stupid shit. Come on, man, with this dumb shit. Hold on, y'all. I'll just have to pull it back up. Cause this thing wanna be fucking stupid. All these fucking stupid ass fucking pop-ups and shit. I'll just type it back in, pull it back up. Proof about. I hate when this fucking thing does that, man. So fucking stupid. Hold on, y'all. I need something because this thing is fucking stupid. This dude said I need a ThinkPad P70. I need something because I ain't got no time for this dumb shit. Nigga trying to finish this stream so a nigga can go to bed. Okay, here we go. Here we go. No, but I'm having fun with you guys though, man. Because, I love, this is why it takes so long to set up my streams. I love educating people because I'm a historian. I'm a searcher of facts. I'm a gatherer of information. And I love sharing information with people who want to learn, and because I believe it is pivotal to the survival and the continuation of any individual or any group of people. You have to understand where you came from in order to understand where you want to go or know where you want to go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, 5 things you may not know about Lincoln, slavery, and emancipation. Get ready to reset your brain, folks, if you didn't already know. First of all, number one, Lincoln wasn't an abolitionist. Let's repeat that. Abraham Lincoln was not an abolitionist. Abraham Lincoln did not believe that slavery was morally wrong, but there was one big problem. It was sanctioned by the highest law in the land, the Constitution. The nation's, and mind y'all, this isn't just coming from some random ass blogger, okay? All of this stuff that I'm showing you is from credible sources. The source about black men being in the Confederate Army, that came from a BBC documentary. These facts about Abraham Lincoln not giving a damn about black people. This came from the History Channel. Okay, all of this stuff is coming from legitimate fucking sources. The sharecropping, another word for slavery, that came from PBS, a PBS documentary, and Wikipedia. Okay, so I'm not just pulling this shit out of my ass. These are credible sources. These are proven documentary and historical archive institutions that have been world renowned, that have won awards. They are world renowned for their research into history and their ability to gather information and produce documentaries on this stuff. Okay, like many people say, in the age of information, there's no excuse for anybody, especially a Negro, to be ignorant. Okay, so Abraham Lincoln did believe that slavery was morally wrong, but there was one big problem. It was sanctioned by the highest law in the land, the Constitution. The nation's founding fathers, who struggled with how to address slavery, did not explicitly write the word slavery in the Constitution, but they did include key clauses protecting the institution, including a fugitive slave clause and the three-fifths clause, which allowed southern states to count slaves for the purposes of representation in the federal government. In a 3-hour speech in Peoria, Illinois, in the fall of 1854, Lincoln presented more clearly than ever his moral, legal, and economic opposition to slavery, and then admitted he didn't know exactly what should be done about it within the current political system. Abolitionists, by contrast, knew exactly what should be done about it. Slavery should be immediately abolished, and freed slaves should be incorporated as equal members of society. They didn't care about working within the existing political system or under the Constitution, which they saw as unjustly protecting slavery and slave owners. Okay, so basically, Abraham Lincoln, he was viewing, you know, slavery as more of a political type of thing. He didn't want to go against the law. He wasn't saying end slavery no matter what. Okay, he was saying end slavery if we can somehow fit this in to be beneficial to us and the country, politically and legally and otherwise. Okay, now fact number 2 about Abraham Lincoln. Scrolling down, if this motherfucking thing will let me and quit fucking with me. Scrolling. Okay. No, motherfucker. Scrolling. Okay. Number 2, Lincoln, and this is the big one. Lincoln didn't believe blacks should have the same rights as whites. Though Lincoln argued that the founding fathers' phrase, all men are created equal, applied to blacks and whites alike, this did not mean he thought they should have the same social and political rights. His views became clear during an 1858 series of debates with his opponent in the Illinois race for U.S. Senate, Stephen Douglas. Damn, tell me that's not Frederick Douglass is related to Frederick Douglass. But anyway, who had accused him of supporting Negro equality. In their fourth debate at Charleston, Illinois, on September 18th, 1858, Lincoln made his position clear. Quote, I will say then that I am not, nor ever have been, in favor of bringing about in any way the social and political equality of the white and black races. He began going on to say that he opposed blacks having the right to vote, to serve on juries, to hold office, and to intermarry with whites. What he did believe was that, like all men, blacks had the right to improve their condition in society and to enjoy the fruits of their labor. In this way, they were equal to white men, and for this reason, slavery was inherently just. But he didn't believe we should have the same rights. He didn't believe we should have the right to vote. Didn't believe we had the right to sit on jury panels, right? He didn't believe we should. As a matter of fact, another thing people didn't know: black soldiers that fought in the on the side of the Union Army, they were paid only $10 a month. $10 a month was a lot of money back then. But check this: a white Union soldier was paid $13 a month. I think this was shown in the movie Glory that came out with Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman in the late '80s, where the black soldiers they protested by tearing up their paychecks, right? And Abraham Lincoln signed off on this. Okay, Understand that. Scroll down. Said, okay. 3. Lincoln thought colonization would resolve the issue of slavery. For much of his career, Lincoln believed that colonization, or the idea that a majority of the African American population should leave the United States and settle in Africa or Central America, was the best way to confront the problem of slavery. So, in other words, he wanted to get rid of niggas. His two great political heroes, Henry Clay and Thomas Jefferson, the guy that was screwing Sally Hemings, had both favored colonization. Both were slave owners who took issue with aspects of slavery, but saw no way that blacks and whites could live together peaceably. Lincoln first publicly advocated for colonization in 1852, and in 1854 said that his first instinct would be to free all the slaves and send them to Liberia. Oh my God, irony of ironies. The African state founded by the American Colonization Society in 1821. Nearly a decade later, even as he edited the draft of the Preliminary Emancipation Proclamation in August of 1862, Lincoln hosted a delegation of freed slaves at the White House in hopes of getting their support on a plan for colonization in Central America. Given the differences between the two races and the hostile attitudes of whites towards blacks, Lincoln argued it would be better for us both, therefore, to be separated. So Lincoln was actually a segregationist. Lincoln's support of colonization provoked great anger among black leaders and abolitionists who argued that African Americans were as much natives of the country as whites. In other words, niggas wanted to stay with they slave masters. As certain people have said on here, y'all love white people, always have, including these pro-blacks. Why would you argue when a white man is telling you that he wants to free you from bondage and send your black ass back to Africa? Why would you say we have as much of a right to be here as whites, even though whites are enslaving the hell out of us? Why would you sit at a lunch counter, for that matter, and allow somebody to pour milk on you and spit in your fucking face just for the honor of sitting at that lunch counter at a stool next to them? Because white people love and have benefited off of black people love and have benefited off white folks, just like white folks love and have benefited off black folks. Exactly. Including sexually. But that's something that we've already dealt with. Okay. And like I told y'all, there was another reason for emancipation being a military policy as well. As much as he hated the institution of slavery, Lincoln didn't see the Civil War as a struggle to free the nation's 4 million slaves from bondage. Emancipation, when it came, would have to be gradual, and the important thing to do was to prevent the Southern Rebellion from severing the Union permanently in two. But as the Civil War entered its second summer in 1862, thousands of slaves had fled Southern plantations to Union lines, and the federal government didn't have a clear policy on how to deal with them. Emancipation, Lincoln saw, would further undermine the Confederacy while providing the Union with a new source of manpower to crush the rebellion. In July 1862, the president presented his draft of the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation to his cabinet. Oh, did y'all know? Y'all know what they call slaves that when Sherman raided a lot of southern plantations when he started his march to the sea, so-called march to the sea. You know what the Union Army did with slaves? They call them contraband. They basically just enslaved the black male slaves into the Union Army as servants and cooks. And then a lot of people don't know this. Most of the black men who fought on the side of the North, they were already freed men anyway that were in the North. Okay, they were not in the South. Those that were captured from like the plantation, they were turned into servants and cooks in the Union Army. They were called contraband. Look it up. Okay. Okay, so we know that Emancipation Proclamation was a military tactic. The Emancipation Proclamation, and nor did the 13th Amendment, a lot of people don't know this either. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't actually free all the slaves. Since Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation as a military measure, it didn't apply to border slave states like Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri, all of which were loyal to the Union. Missouri actually had two competing governments, one loyal to and recognized by the Union, and one loyal to the Confederacy. Lincoln also exempted selected areas of the Confederacy that had already come under Union control in hopes of gaining the loyalty of whites in those states. See, he was more trying to appease them, which is why he didn't put any of those Confederate generals or politicians on trial after the war ended. He wanted to make friends with the Confederates, which is why when after slavery ended, okay, they didn't really overly enforce the freed slave the freed slave laws that the Emancipation Proclamation brung forth. They just said, okay, the slaves are free, and that's why it was so easy for the slave owners to come as landlords and return niggas back to a state of slavery, which they volunteered to do anyway. They volunteered to go along with anyway. Majority of them. It says, in practice, then the Emancipation Proclamation didn't immediately free a single slave, as the only places it applied were places where the federal government had no control, the southern states currently fighting against the Union. See? So he said, well, if you play nice, we'll let you keep in some of the places that have aligned themselves with us, we'll let you keep your slaves. Maryland was actually a slave state. A lot of people didn't know this. Even though it sided with the North, okay, Maryland was a slave state. And during the Civil War, while Maryland committed a lot of troops to the Army of the Potomac, a lot of regiments came from Maryland, including some Negro regiments, okay? Maryland was the state of Maryland was still allowed to have fucking slavery. Look it the fuck up. So what I'm trying the point that I've been trying to hammer home to you guys in this stream was that slavery continued after slavery in the form of sharecropping, including during Jim Crow and during the early stages of the American Civil Rights Movement, which was actually the second Civil War of sorts. Okay, it didn't physically end. Sharecropping didn't physically end. Another type of slavery didn't physically end until the late 1950s. The last cotton plantation was still active in 1959. Okay, and mental slavery began, as we know, in the late 1860s with Lyndon Baines Johnson, a Texas Southern Dixie Democrat, by the way, his so-called war on poverty, okay, which evolved into this welfare state, okay, which throughout the mid and late 1970s devolved into having in the black community the black man removed surgically removed from the home so that black women under these liberal pushed policies could receive free benefits just like the slaves were receiving free benefits during slavery in exchange for free labor. Now they were getting free benefits, Section 8, food stamp, including WIC. I think they even have a program to help you pay your bills. All this free shit in exchange for free votes and to keep the black man out of the house. Because with the free black, keeping a free thinking black man who's free from slavery out of the house, free from sharecropping out of the house, that guarantees that black people will never get to a point where they think on their own. And we kind of skipped over the part where the creation of the mammy after slavery. She was the house negress or the bed wench, as y'all call her, during slavery, but after slavery, she was called the mammy. Okay, and she oversaw black men and black children. Okay. And when this welfare state was created, okay, the mammy she was awarded with doing what she had always done historically anyway, which was keep the black man under control. Okay. They flipped it around to make sure that the woman was the head of the household. And now you have the shit basically on autopilot. You get free shit for free votes. Don't question us about what we're doing for your community. Don't question us about what we're doing for your children. Don't question us about why we as Democrats are passing these laws and hiring these police officers that are locking up and gunning down your black sons, fathers, and uncles and nephews. Okay? You just keep getting this free shit, keep giving us free votes, keep us in power. And oh, by the way, make sure you keep the black man in a feminized, subservient state to you as the black woman. Okay. And this is why, A, black women have no respect for us, and B, why slavery never fucking ended. Because just like slavery has always benefited white people, in a way, it has always benefited black people and primarily black women. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to give you guys one more opportunity to join the discussion panel. Anybody who wants to talk with me about anything that I've said, I'm going to give you one more chance. And then in 5 minutes, we're going to get out of here. I'm typing right now my email one more time for anybody who wants to give any feedback on any of the stuff that we covered today. um you know, I was going to go into the whole slave master relationship thing, but we covered it enough. And we know what black women were doing with white men. Like I said, there's two main fucking reasons why slavery never fucking ended, physiologically or psychologically, because black people have benefited from it, what Cynthia G calls tangible benefits, and we've benefited from it, biologically, I guess you could say, for lack of a more wanting term as well. Biracial children, romantic relationships, outright sex. Okay. This is stuff that has been going on for centuries. This is why black people are so tied to white people. They love white people. First thing a nigga do when they get some money and influence is go marry a white person. Go have children with a white person. Tamron Balls, aka Tamron Hall, is the latest white penis junkie to do so. But a lot of you niggas are the same damn way, so y'all can't say nothing. Even with all this hashtag Me Too thing, you still got niggas on YouTube talking about get you a white woman. Because historically, black people and white people have been tied almost to like this marriage, even during the slave master relationships. This marriage, mentally, that you benefit me, I'll benefit you. You give me free shit, I'll give you free shit. Right? That's why the Democrats know they don't have to work hard to get a nigga's vote. It's manipulation 101. That's what it is. So anybody who wants to join the stream, giving you guys one more chance. One more chance, guys. And then we're going to get out of here. Anybody who wants to join the stream, join my live streams that I don't know. There was a person on here earlier that Dynamic Electric Solutions LLC. I don't know what the heck that is. You make yourself more known around my video comment section, okay? So I can get a good idea of your mindset, okay? Because like I said, I'm not gonna have niggas on my streams, bickering back and forth like a bunch of high school girls or like a bunch of black women. Okay, we're all gonna be on one accord, because arguing, yelling, screaming, everybody thinking different things, that's not helping anybody. If we're all not all on one accord, we don't need to be in the same fucking building. Okay, you don't see anybody else doing that but Negroes. People have disagreements, okay, but not within their own group. Okay, not the way niggas do it anyway. Okay, yeah. So make yourself. I tell you what, I can bring you on the next panel if you make yourself known around here. Cause I just talked to my audience, my loyal audience about, and I'm not saying you're one of those, but Negroes that, they come and go, they jump on bandwagons, they jump on channels and videos that are trending and go viral. And then as soon as those videos and channels stop going viral, then all of a sudden they fucking leave. Like, like little fucking high school girls, looking at a Justin Bieber music video or something. I don't have time for niggas like that. And, sometimey niggas, you can't trust them to be true to the cause. So I'm not saying you're like that, but make yourself more known around here. If you're one of us, if you're a Marlboro man, outfitters, if you're a Marlboro man, then make yourself more known around here, bro. And I guarantee I'll have you on the next live stream. Okay, guys. So as Biggie Smalls used to say, if you don't know, now you know. Okay? Hence the title of this video, or part of the title of this video. This is the truth about slavery after slavery ended. Okay? Because slavery never really did end. Now you understand why the black bimbo doesn't respect you. You understand why she's the head of 3/4 of all black households. You understand why as soon as niggas, both male and female, get close to even an average white person, they want to marry them, they want to fuck them, they want to have children with them. Okay? Now you understand why black people vote Democrat 90 to the 90th percentile every single fucking time, even though the Democrats have done, they really have done nothing constructive for black people. They've given black women free shit. And in slave times, they they manipulated us into thinking that we were getting something, in exchange for free labor, when all we were really doing was selling our fucking souls down the pipe and allowing ourselves to be subjugated to this even after slavery ended. Now you understand all of that stuff, guys. So, with that in mind, I have to bid you guys adieu. It's past midnight. I got to get my butt in bed because I got to wake up in the morning. For those of you who are paid patron members, let me show y'all this. For those of you who haven't become paid patron members, you want to sign up today for just $7 a month. I'm gonna be working my next Patreon blog is going to be entitled something to the tune of "Why Hashtag Me Too Will Never Come After Martin Luther King's Legacy." That's going to be available only. It's going to be available only on Patreon.com for paying patrons. Okay. And if you don't know why hashtag Me Too, even though it's looking to knock down all of these famous, influential black men like Bill Cosby, like Michael Jackson, and some others to a lesser extent, know that even though information has come out, including a book that was written about Martin Luther King over the last 20 years, about his sex life and how he cheated on his wife Coretta, and how he even gave her sexually transmitted diseases because of all the light skinned and white prostitutes he was screwing. Why hashtag Me Too will never ever dare touch the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, and I will fall on the sword if they do, but I doubt they will never ever touch Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy. The reason why, and I'm going to delve into that on Patreon. As y'all know, I'm now producing content at a massive rate across 4 platforms, including Black Avenger TV, including Patreon, including BitChute, and here on YouTube. Okay? The content on Patreon you can't get unless you become a member, a patron. Okay? But I'm going to delve into it. Martin Luther King's image, his legacy, is still needed for these demotards, for these dummycrats to further subjugate your black ass. I'm going to say it again. Dr. Martin Luther King and his legacy and his image is still needed to subjugate, aka enslave and control and manipulate your black ass. So as long as he serves that purpose, they are not going to use hashtag me too or anything else to demean him or belittle him or try to, you know, deconstruct him as a positive role model for all Negroes to look up to, like they do for Africans with Nelson Mandela. Okay, because he is still useful to their cause, which is to keep your black ass under their fucking thumb. If you want to see that blog article, which is going to be written and audible, sign up today on patreon.com for just $7 a month. You get access to exclusive content that no one else will on my free blogs. And I tell you right now, if YouTube keep fucking with my content, it may get to a point where the only way you can see my shit is on patreon.com. So sign up there today, guys, if you want to see that shit. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out, guys. Wish I could have got some of you guys on the panel. If y'all keep doing that, I'm just going to go to my encoder where I can't have nobody join a panel. But, and again, I'm not saying you're a bad person, but the brother that wanted to join the panel today, I have to know you a little bit better. um just make yourself more known around the video comment the commentary section of videos that I produce for the next week or so. And if your viewpoints align with my viewpoints and the like-minded brothers, at least to the point where we can have a constructive conversation and not have that circus buffoonery bullshit that I saw the likes of certain brothers on Renaissance Woman's discussion panel earlier today. I have no problem with you joining the club. I have no problem with you labeling yourself as a Marlboro man, and I have no problem with you coming on the panel. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for coming out, guys, and talk to you later. I think in spite of not being able to have a discussion panel, we still had a great stream nonetheless. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Wait, hold on. I got somebody coming in here. Hold up. Got in late, had no relief on security shift. Sorry, brother. Like to come on. Oh, fuck. Oh, well, y'all. We can't end the stream yet. Hold up. Nigga want to come on. Not a nigga. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Roger Spice. I just saw this. Damn, bro. Damn. Okay. Anybody that wants to stay on, we got one brother that wants to come on. I'm gonna let him come on. We'll do like 10 minutes. I'm just gonna let him do talking because I'm done talking. I didn't explain everything to y'all. I didn't mapped it out. I ain't got nothing else to say. But I'm gonna let this brother come on. Roger Spice in the house, about to be in the house anyway. I'm gonna let him come on. So just give me a second, guys. This shit is so fucking laggy. We got this brother that want to come on, so um yeah, I'll go ahead and send him the shit. Give me 1 second, guys. This shit is so fucking laggy. So we're gonna let Roger Spice we're gonna let Roger Spice speak a little bit, and then we're gonna get off here. Y'all know my streams are always disorientated. But I want to hear what this brother has to say, so I mean I'm not really exhausted, bro. I just, you know, I just cuz you shared some information with me. You sure you don't want to come on now, bro? It's up to you. I'm sure a lot of other people want to go to bed anyway. The chat room is falling, but yeah, it's all right. I catch you. I tell you what. I catch you. We'll catch each other on the next live stream. Okay, guys. All right. So anyway, Roger Spice telling me to go to bed. Um, yeah, guys. Thanks everybody for coming out. Sorry about that fuck up with the stream ending earlier. I'm glad I got you guys back on. It's been fun. Stay tuned. I got a lot more coming down the pipe, including that hashtag Me Too not coming after Martin Luther King's legacy, available only exclusively to paying patron members. I'm gonna work on that starting tomorrow. That's gonna be the next video project or the next content producing project. And other than that, talk to you later, guys.